If you're just joining us, you're listening to Inspire Indeed on WRIR 97.3 FM. I'm talking with Casey McGurran, the Executive Director of Earthcraft Virginia, and she's sharing a little bit about what Earthcraft does to impact the community and what it means to have an active green building effort going on. You can learn more about Earthcraft at their website. What's your website, Casey?
It's Earthcraft. That's EARTHCRAFT, Virginia, which is spelled out .org.
We were talking a little bit earlier about some of the incentives for getting builders involved in your program. So it sounds like you're working a lot with those folks that are self-selecting into the program. They have an interest in sustainability for whatever reason. Is it more expensive to build this way, though? I mean, does it cost more to do it this way?
What we find is that all depends. I guess that's probably not the best answer that you were looking for. It depends. It depends on where you're starting. So builders that are already building high-performance homes that come into the program, they might find it very easy and not incur additional costs or very little. But also on the other end, if we have a builder that's building to code, just getting by, it might take a little bit extra for them. We are certainly from an energy standpoint beyond code. Often we also find that by looking at the whole building envelope, getting better windows, air sealing, we don't need as big of HVAC systems. So that's something interesting that actually is a payback. It can be a payback by investing in the building envelope and better windows. So there's all sorts of components to the energy equation.
And the energy equation, and also just where you're investing up front. You may be investing more in windows but less in HVAC and...
Well, and that's what's very fun about working with your technical advisors. You can play with that building envelope. So we can play with the performance of the windows. If you were considering 2x4 construction, 12-inch on center, we can play with moving it to 2x6 and 24 on center, and windows and conditioned crawl spaces and insulating roof lines.
Wow, I'm sure the options are endless.
They are.
And we haven't even talked about paint colors yet. So tell me, it sounds like you work a lot with builders. Who are some of your other community partners that you need to be successful in your work?
Well, we've been very fortunate to formulate partnerships with a lot of different organizations and people. When we first moved into Virginia and we launched this program in 2006 on a statewide basis, we first partnered with the Home Builders Association of Virginia because we do work so closely with builders, and the program originated with single family. I also mentioned Virginia Housing Development Authority. That's the state agency for housing, and they also closely work with Department of Housing and Community Development. Those are just some partners. Also in a large context, in 2008 we were approached by Habitat for Humanity of Virginia. They learned about green building and they wanted to build green. Mm-hmm. So Sylvia Halleck, their executive director then, came to us and said, we would like all of our 52 affiliates across the state to build green. And we were very impressed by her enthusiasm, and we weren't sure if that was possible. But sure enough, she has made tremendous strides, her along with countless others. They're now Executive Director Overton McGee. And we have now built in 3 years 220 Habitat for Humanity Earthcraft certified homes in the state of Virginia.
Wow.
The Richmond Metro Habitat, Jane Helfrich is now their executive director. They are, again, very progressive. They are one of those very large volume Habitat affiliates. Both those, Sylvia and Jane, have been not only great leaders for their organizations, but terrific mentors for me. Other partners, I would say, as a nonprofit and a small startup nonprofit, there's been all the individuals in the community that have given back. I find that if you reach out in Richmond, there's a lot of folks that are willing to give back to you and help you out, as long as you buy them a cup of coffee. And I really also think I found an educational component in the resources available through Partnership for Nonprofit Excellence and Nonprofit Learning Point have been exceptional and a huge value. So when you're managing that budget, it's really terrific to have those resources available.
Definitely. So you're managing your budget and you're managing your shop. Like, how many employees do you have?
We now have a staff of 11.
11, okay.
So
across the state, right?
That's 11 in our main office.
Here in Richmond, okay.
Right. We have a single-family program, a multifamily program. We have about 85 projects under construction in multifamily. We've just launched a light commercial program, which we think is going to really fill a niche for the industry. we are very excited to hope to have a communities program. So this is all the new urbanism concepts that as a urban planner that in college that I studied, but how do we actually implement them? Where previously I think new urbanism has been around for 20 plus years, but there was rarely a component of the building itself, of the homes.
I guess it's mostly looking at the composition of the neighborhood, right?
And so when I learned about Earthcraft, I was blown away. Here I was so focused, having grown up in Northern Virginia and see that transpire. I was so blown away that I had never thought about the energy the individual building used and what type of impact that made for the community at large. Not only from having a happy, healthy resident, but the home's now more affordable to live in. You have more stable communities and happier.
And conserving resources across the board.
Absolutely.
Can you share a little bit about how you know that you're successful with your work at Earthcraft?
That's been a challenging issue. Definitely, we do look at number of homes. That's something we absolutely can equate to. Across the state in 6 years, we've certified over 1,700 homes and over 8,600 multifamily dwelling units.
Over what period of time?
6 years.
6 years.
So that's
impressive.
It's very impressive, and that's really largely due to the work of our very dedicated staff and our very dedicated technical advisors across the state, and all of our building partners. That this work would not be possible. Other measures of success for us, energy is another one that we like because we're building science geeks and we love looking at that. And we also have done some carbon savings data analysis. The less tangible things are the durability, resident comfort, indoor air quality. So
it's a little harder to capture.
We're hoping to meet with some folks at Virginia Tech's Housing Center, Research Center, and I know the Housing Virginia here in Richmond. There's other folks that we are thinking about how do we collaborate and really get this message out. There is a story to be told. We're just not exactly sure how to communicate it.
I hear people talk about LEED construction, and I don't even know what LEED stands for. So maybe you could share a little bit about how your work with green building relates to LEED construction.
Sure, absolutely. And LEED, I hope I'm correct on this, but I believe it's Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So LEED, and I would like to say that I do serve on the local chapter of the James River Green Building Council, so that's the local chapter. LEED really took their approach with a commercial green certification. So building commissioning, there's lots of different folks involved. LEED and Earthcraft are very, very similar in what we're looking for. I think that the process is very different. I believe it was in 2006 that they did develop a residential component to their certification process. But again, taking that from commercial to residential wasn't necessarily the process that the single-family builder needed. Our Earthcraft family of programs was developed by Southface Energy Institute in Atlanta. That organization's been around since 1978, and they really saw this need and worked with builders to develop this program. Launched it in 1999.
Starting with the residential.
Starting with residential, because in their eyes, Dennis Creech and his team really saw the need that commercial has a lot more invested dollars. It's the single-family builder that's really hard to reach on that small scale. So our program started off with single family, and we have worked our way up into other programs, multifamily, light commercial. And really it's about the process. We focus on boots on the ground and hand-holding our builders. LEED is very documentation heavy. We are LEED for Homes providers, so if someone wants to build LEED, we're one of two folks in the state that they would need to go through. And we've invested our resources so that we could have folks across the state that are capable of doing those inspections. We've seen 25 LEED homes certified in the state. I think the key difference is that you don't have that hand-holding that you do with the Earthcraft House program. And because there's so much documentation involved, it tends to be more expensive.
Is that right? Okay.
So, and we're really, Earthcraft Virginia, we're focused on changing the way that we build buildings. So we want to make the largest impact. So if we can do that with Earthcraft, we're going to use that mechanism. If we can do that with LEED, we're going to use that mechanism too. So since 2007, we have been LEED for Homes providers, and we continue to develop and try to get the word out there. So both programs work. It's just a different approach.
Okay, so it's two different programs. And let me see if I understand this correctly. LEED and Earthcraft are two different programs that certify that construction's green.
Correct.
Correct? Okay. Slightly different approaches.
The typical client we see with a lead home is has already acquired an architect. Most single-family builders do not. They already have spec
They
plans
have
that they're
plans,
using.
yeah.
So lead tends to be very architectural heavy. And again, I think that stems from the
Where it comes
origination with the
from.
commercial application.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm starting to get it.
I hope so.
I'm starting to get a lot of new things. So you've shared a lot of incredible information. Tell me, Casey, how do people, if they're interested in learning more, how do they find out about you guys?
Well, historically, we've not been so good at that. I have to admit, we've really utilized implementing our program through the Home Builders Association and through VHDA. But now we feel like it's time for us to get our message out there. As a growing nonprofit with such a technical message, it's been challenging to allocate our time and resources towards letting everyone know what we're doing. So just recently, we are working to try to develop what our communications plan is. We're engaging the community here locally. We did host the 5K along with Earth Day and in Richmond, so that was really fun. We have open houses at our offices. We do green drinks.
Where are your offices?
We're currently renting offices at Plum and Main Street. We love that community. One of our goals is to eventually be in a net zero building of our own. So that's a long-term goal. But other things that we're doing here in the community and how people can engage with us is join and work with your local Habitat for Humanity affiliate. It's a terrific way to actually have this hands-on approach to construction.
And your website where people can learn more?
Earthcraft, that's C-R-A-F-T, Virginia, which is spelled out, .org.
Great. Well, it sounds like you're a relatively new nonprofit, starting, about 6 years ago. Well, what's on the horizon for Earthcraft Virginia? What are your big goals in the future?
Well, we would like more folks to know about what we're doing because I think it's a really easy thing to be passionate about. I did mention that we would like to see Earthcraft communities up here. So that's from the developer standpoint, looking at open space conservation, green space conservation, high density development, connectivity, stormwater management, all of those things, and then implement the green building techniques. I think one day very soon, I'm going to say these are my big, hairy, audacious goals.
Yeah.
I think we would like to definitely have an office and also community space in a net zero building to showcase what could be. And really, our largest goal is just to change the way that we build buildings. There's some really simple measures that can be implemented. You just need someone to show you how to do it.
Yeah, well, thankfully, Earthcraft Virginia is here to show us how to do it. So thanks for sharing. I've been talking to Casey McGurran today. She's the Executive Director of Earthcraft Virginia. Casey, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Elaine.
I also want to say thanks to Jay Westerman for serving as Inspire Indeed's sound engineer. We have so many incredible volunteers here at the station, and if you're interested, just go to the WRIR.org website and click on the volunteer link. You can learn how to get involved. We definitely rely on our volunteers, underwriters, and our listeners to keep this local source of information available, so thanks a lot for your support. My name is Elaine Summerfield, and you've been listening to Inspire Indeed. I hope you've learned something here today that inspires you to consider how you might make a difference with your deeds.